think that's the one. That looks good. Kind of looks good. Bit of a reflector, whatever on. Never mind. Evening everybody, it's Mike here from Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How-To. Over in the hot seat over there is Kath, so if you've got any messages for me, please feel free to send it in the super chat, or voice chat, or not voice chat, the other one, the text chat, and Kath will pass on any messages that I accidentally miss. It is Saturday the 15th of August 2020, and we're still in COVID times, so hopefully everyone is doing well, keeping well, being fit, healthy, active, etc, etc, all those usual things. And as you've probably seen already from the thumbnail today, we're going to be talking motherboards, mostly B550 and the new Athlon and Ryzen, well, so it's not really Athlon, but the Ryzen 3000 series. My experiences so far, some of the bits and pieces that I've received and unboxed and used this week, and we'll have a good old chat about it, see what you think, see what your opinions are, see what you're likely to buy. Are you ready to ditch B450? Are you super looking forward to the A520, which ASRock imminently are supposedly releasing, which does support overclocking? That is going to be one heck of a board, and yeah, could be the death knell of B450 once and for all. But anyway, let's say a quick hello to those of you that have joined us for tonight's chat. And who have we got in with us this evening? So we've got Dave Burns, who was in first, Angry Doge, Dave Aitken, who's claiming second, Dave Burns, Tech Gamer, sorry. I've just had the world's largest pizza, pretty much ate the whole thing. Blood sugar is falling through the floor. I think I'm actually dying, but we'll carry on. If the stream stops for any moment and I disappear, yeah, I'm dead. So, F in chat for that. David Aitken says, Thug, you're awake? Oh yeah, Thug's time zone is slightly bizarre comparatively with the UK time zone. Kev from ClickTech is in the house also. O'Reilly SLP. And we'll see something about Avengers there. We'll be discussing a little bit about that because that's been something this week. Who else? Clinch Sam says, evening all. Who else have we got? British Noob says, Doge Mike. Not sure what that means, but still, there you go. British Noob doesn't often make sense, so let's not rule it out. Captain Me's Adventures says, hey unboxers. Speaking of unboxers, this week we've had a few requests for new merch to be made, and one of which was, yeah, Mike's unboxing boxer shorts. What do you think about that? Would you be interested?
Boxer shorts.
Ladies, men, undecided. What do you think? Would you, is that something you would wear? Wear with pride? Oh dear. Who else we got? Matthew Day says, yeah, eating some microwave thing tonight. P.S. Did you get the CX RAM for the all-in-one? No, I didn't. The all-in-one is still all in one piece in the front room, completely untouched. Although I have had a few goes at putting Linux on it, and it was just giving me a headache, and I gave up in the end. Even the lightest version of Linux that I could possibly find still ran like an absolute dog in YouTube. So I think it's just one of those things that some hardware gets to a point where it is just DOA. It's not going to be useful for anything. So anyway, British Noob says, wait, he's not going to be late. No, not me, not me. British Noob. Ricardo says, hi Mike, hi Kath, hi everyone, hope you're all okay. Glenn Hathaway says, hello both, hope you're well. Yeah, we're doing well, mate, thank you. Hopefully you are also. Dave Burns says, pens, Kath, pens.
Can't reach him tonight. I'm sharing the chair with the cat.
Yeah, Kath can't reach the pens. Actually, I don't even know where I've hidden them. There's a box from somewhere.
I can't see them, I can't reach them.
Lecter Buzz says, what a knob.
Noob.
Or noob. One way.
Can't spell.
British Noob says, I'm seriously looking at B550 Gaming X to upgrade to and give my current stuff to Erin. Oh, that's a kind gesture. Jabant's in the house, Nax is in the house also.
Did you say Glenn?
Glenn, yep, said Glenn. Academy's Avengers, who else we got? Muckless. Muckless says, hello everybody, we still getting the B550 pitch from Mike. We all love Ryzen, don't worry.
Did you see what Captain Meat said a bit above?
Captain Meets Adventure says on the boxers you can have a floppy and a hard drive printed on them. Innuendos. Paul Bakewell says pens giveaway this week. Yeah, sure, we can do some pens giveaways, I think. Captain Meets Adventures, yeah, has got the computer chair tonight and Mike's on the naughty seat. Yeah, I got the naughty seat, the crappy naughty seat. What can I say? Kath loves that chair. She really does love that chair. And GT Racing or GT Player, if you're watching this, please, please, can you help us out and send Kath a chair, preferably in pink, so she don't keep stealing mine, because it literally is actually a pain in the ass, because I got to sit on this hard ass chair, and it is not doing me very good. So I need my chair back. Please help me. Tristan, actually I missed one out, sorry. Russell Walton says, I just bought a B550 Phantom Gaming 4 AC for £100, bargain. Nice one. That is the non-AC version here, the Phantom Gaming 4, which hopefully those of you that are regular watchers of the channel, you've already seen me do the unboxing on this on, when was it? Tuesday, I think it was. I think I did it Tuesday. Probably Tuesday. Actually, really cool little board. Got the Ryzen 3 3100 on it. This pair, this combo, the Phantom Gaming 4 and this chip, is a really, really potent little gaming setup. I actually ran it with the RTX 2060 KO, and yeah, it's an absolute flyer. You can get some serious performance out of these chips, and just the kind of synthetic numbers, basically you're looking at 6700K, 7700K kind of performance, but obviously for considerably less money and with a hopefully considerable upgrade path. So yeah, super pleased with the B550s. Now they've come down to a sensible price. For those of you who've been lucky enough to pick up on some of the bargains from box.co.uk, they've been listing some of their stuff this week on eBay. And of course on eBay there's been this 15% discount code which you can use on pretty much most things over a certain amount of money. I think it's about £50 or something. So pretty much every motherboard that you can think of at the moment has got £15 off or 15% off. Most of them are around about £100, so yeah, £15 off kind of makes sense. So if you were considering taking the plunge and you want to do an upgrade, definitely now is a really good time, especially if you're shopping on eBay. Pick up one of these boards, pick up one of the MSI boards. This one I actually picked up off Amazon prior to the discount code coming on, but the B550M Pro VDH Wi-Fi, which I think that released today. Did that release today?
Yes, it did.
Someone tell me in the chat, it's been a long day already. I think this one released today. This is a killer board, it really is. For the price of what I paid, which I think was £93 in change, amazing, absolutely amazing. Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, PCI Express Gen 4 x 4 slot for your NVMe, PCI Express Gen 4 x 16 slot for your graphics card. Pretty much the same heatsink and VRM setup as the MSI B450 Tomahawk Max, which as we all know is probably one of the best boards made on the B450 platform, apart from probably the AC Carbon, which is its bigger brother. Yeah, this is MSI. They have really pulled themselves up from the pretty terrible X570 launch, apart from some of the really, really high-end boards. They have turned it around completely. The B550 range, VRM-wise, even from the really, really crappy low-end boards to really, really low-end boards, and even the entry-level boards like this, still with a pretty amazing VRM setup, which, yeah, hats off to them. They've done a fantastic job, they really have. And I think it's going to do them well. I think it really will benefit. I think the B550 chipset is going to be that kind of the go-to one. X570 is really good and it gives you extra features, but realistically, most of us don't need all of that stuff. So the B550 is going to be where pretty much most of the business is at. They will get a massive amount of market share from the A520s as well when they actually hit the shops, but the A520 is designed for the really, really low end or the system integrators. But for the enthusiasts and the tweakers and tinkerers of like us, the B550 is where it's at. And yeah, this is a great board. I am super, super excited to do a build in this. I still am struggling to find myself a micro ATX case that I feel is worthy of me actually doing a build in. I've had a few suggestions from some of you guys and girls out there. There was one, I think it was the, what was the little square one, Kath, you remember? I think it was the DK-D3 from First Player Gaming, but trying to get one of those at the moment at a decent price is just not happening. They were kind of like 25, 30 pounds when they started out, and they jacked right up now to about 45, 50 pounds because they've become quite popular. Basically, it is like the thermal take, the V20 or V21, that kind of cube case, but with a nice RGB and a side panel window that flops open, or well, slides open, I suppose you would say, not flops open. That's probably the wrong description. You get what I mean. But that was going to be my kind of go-to case to do micro ATX builds. Unfortunately, can't get one at a decent price, and I'm not spending over the odds on it. It's just that goes against everything that I believe in, as you lot will probably know anyway. So yeah, I'm not going to spend extra money unnecessarily, hence why I'm buying these boards. I have considered going with the old favourite, the Gamax Kamikaze Pro, but being as I've done one already, I really don't want to retread over kind of prior experiences. I want to experience something new, something pretty cool, something a little bit different. So if you've got any really good suggestions for a cheap but decent micro ATX case, please do let me know. Either pop me an email at the address underneath, mikesunboxing.com, or on our Discord. You can send me a message on there, or whatever you want to do. Send it by courier pigeon, I don't care what it is. Just let me know. I need to see a decent micro ATX case which isn't going to kill the bank balance, but is going to do this justice, and has got hopefully a little bit of addressable RGB and a little bit of bling factor, because I think that's what you guys want to see. So anyway, that is, yeah, fantastic boards, genuinely fantastic boards. Kath is wiggling her finger, which means something, eh?
You better catch up on here.
I better catch up on here. Okay, let's have a quick look at what you guys and girls have been saying.
Link.
Where have I?
I think you need to go from the
Nathan, Trooper,
Crackmatic.
Crackmatic. Christ, how far back have I got to go?
Can you see me in orange saying enjoying the chair? The one above.
Crackmatic. Christ almighty, there's far too many things to hear. Nathan says, hey Mike, at Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To. So glad I could finally catch a stream rather than random comment on Twitter. Thanks Nathan, thanks for joining us. Hopefully it'll be up to your expectations. It generally isn't. These streams generally are rubbish, but I do them just because, well, I love you guys, and it's nice to speak to you in, well, feels like my Saturday night with something other than Casualty on TV, so awesome. Crackmatic says, I'm building a PC next week for the first time, but using my old SSDs and hard drive. Do I need to wipe them, or will the new PC read the data? Ideally, Crackmatic, depending on what platform you're going to, it's always a really good idea to do a fresh install of Windows, just to iron out any of those bugs, anomalies, weird stuff, and cross-contaminating drivers, that kind of thing. But having said that, many of us have often built a PC and then thought, sod it, just put your hard drive in, and fingers crossed, boot into safe mode, and hope and pray that all the chipset drivers and graphics card drivers and all those little bits and pieces magically interweave themselves with the operating system, and boop, it all starts working. Sometimes it will, sometimes it won't. But yeah, if I was telling you the sensible route, it would be to wipe it and start again. But hey, chuck the drive in, try it. What have you got to lose? What's the worst that could happen? It blue screens. If so, reinstall Windows. Give it a go. So hopefully that answers your question.
Thanks, I will wipe.
Okay, cool. Stephen Darby says, hi guys. Hi. British Noob says 3300X, when? Probably never. One of our good friends in the who seems to be an insider, who won't actually tell me where he works and who he works for, but seems to be giving me these little snippets of information from the inside edge. So yeah, apparently there has been a rather large shipment of AMD processors which have come into the country this week, mostly 3600s as you would expect because it's the most popular chip. There has been a very, very small number of 3300Xs, but it appears that they have been mostly designated to system integrators, all that kind of stuff. So chances of us seeing some 3300Xs on the market are slim, I would say, at best, at least in the current economic climate and with obviously COVID and all that kind of stuff. But who knows, they could filter their way down. You never know, some of these larger system integrators may find they have a glut of stock and they don't need them, so they pass them on through the retail channels. It is unlikely, but you never know, it could happen.
These are B and on of tech.
Yeah, we have got our B and on. Our tech B and on. What else? Trooper C says, I have a ASRock B450 Steel Legend. Is there a point going to the B550? If so, what are the advantages? Trooper, the honest answer is if you've got a Steel Legend and depending on what processor you've got and if your system seems stable, then no, there isn't really a justifiable reason, be it performance, compatibility or whatever, to actually go to the B550. If, on the other hand, you're now building a new system and you're starting from scratch, it does seem not a particularly good idea to buy a B450 board, unless you manage to pick one up for a fantastic bargain, and it would need to be a pretty decent bargain. Now, I can speak from experience on this because obviously, as you know, I've got the B550M Pro VDH Wi-Fi, also the Phantom Gaming 4 still, which I haven't built systems for, yet this week on Facebook Marketplace, this came along. Yes, we all know what this is, the Tomahawk B450 Max, which is pretty much the cream of the crop as far as B450 boards are concerned. This bad boy can do pretty much everything you want, well, apart from addressable RGB. That is its biggest flaw in my personal opinion.
No. Coffee.
It doesn't make coffee either, which is a little bit of crap. It should be able to make coffee, that would be awesome. But the Tomahawk, a great board. Now, I managed to pick it up at a spectacular price, which I hope is actually worthwhile, because I, completely honest with you, I took it on a punt and I just bought it. I haven't even tested it, I've not put a processor in it, I've not even powered it or anything, so I'm assuming the person who sold it to me is legit. They seen it, so I've used PayPal goods and services, which if you are buying anything online from anyone, friend, family, whatever, try and use PayPal goods and services. I get that question asked all the time. Mike, when I'm buying stuff online, how do I do it? How can I be safe? How can I make sure, or how can I guarantee it's going to arrive? Well, first thing is, you can't guarantee it's going to arrive. The one thing that you can guarantee is that you can't guarantee it. It's not possible to guarantee it, because you never know what's going to happen. Somebody might get ill, they might get other issues, family problems, whatever. They may not be able to send you the goods. This happens. Also, they could be basically an asshole and they're not going to send it regardless, which, yeah, sucks. So use PayPal, use PayPal, friends and family, and that way then you can use the service to actually protect yourself. You do pay a slight premium, and obviously you can discuss with the seller who's going to pay that part of the fee, whether or not they want to swallow the costs. It's not a lot. It's about 2%, 3% of the purchase price, plus a one-off fee of about 50p or something. So it isn't a lot. So if you're spending maybe, say for argument's sake, £100 on a motherboard, to spend an extra £3,
Goods and
maybe
services, not friends and family.
Yeah, goods and services. Sorry, that's what I meant to say. Yeah, if you're buying things from your friends and family, still use goods and services, just to be on the safe side. But yeah, make sure that you obviously agree with the seller who's going to pay that part of the cost. The last thing you want is to upset them by you sending them £100 via goods and services, and then PayPal takes off their little snippet, and then they're like, well, you've only sent me like £96, what's with that? Then having to explain to them, well, I've used goods and services, they've taken the fees off. Best to get it all open air and above board and just say, look, I'm going to do it by goods and services. Are you okay with that? Do you want me to pay the extra, or are you happy to cover those costs? Always try and do that if you can. One of the reasons why I bought this on face value and I haven't tested it is purely because I did use the PayPal service for goods and services. So if there is anything wrong with this, I can get in contact with the seller and say, look, I bought this board off you, it doesn't work. Then it's up to them to either say, okay, fair enough, I'll take it back off you, give you money back, or you go through PayPal and they will basically get the money back for you in some way, shape or form. Yes, Kath?
Don't bank transfer ever, Dave Burns said.
Yeah, never.
Dave Burns said.
If you, Dave Burns, thank you for mentioning that. If you're buying stuff online from someone, never use bank transfer. That is probably the worst thing you can possibly do. Even though you think in your heart of hearts that it's all going to go through and everything's fantastic, if you do a bank transfer, there is virtually no way that can be reversed. And more times than not, if it is a scam of some sort, by the time you've actually realised it's a scam, they've closed the account and they've gone. So you are unlikely to be covered. You may have some sort of cover with your credit card company or something, but it can be a little bit of a faff. So do take care of yourself, do look after your investments, protect yourself, protect the seller as well, and vice versa. So you're all in that like kind of you are all kind of in, wow, words is hard. You're all in that kind of protected bubble where you're using goods and services, so you're securing yourself, you're securing them. They don't have to shell out from their own pocket if things go wrong. It's basically like added insurance, so yeah, try and use it. But anyway, moving on. So I bought this board. Christ, that was a long way around. I bought this board. It was a fantastic bargain, and I'm yet to test it, but I did want to do an unboxing of it just to go through it, just to actually confirm in my mind that this isn't the board that I want anymore. At one point in time, this was what I wanted, and I thought, yeah, that'd be great. Then I realised it didn't do a decent coverage of the addressable RGB. It has RGB on it, 12 volt RGB, which for a lot of people is more than enough. But for me, you know what? Well, look behind me. What can you see there? There is addressable RGB to the max. So yeah, addressable RGB is something that I need, and this board doesn't have it. It pretty much covers up all the other bases. So
second Mexican way, first you did it, then my phone and that.
There is a bit of a delay in there. I do need addressable RGB in my life and in my PC. So this board doesn't do it, but it's got a fantastic VRM, as we know. Pretty much every chip that AMD make will work on it to some extent, especially the higher end chips. Overclocking isn't a problem. VRMs are really good. Yeah, it's generally all round a fantastic board. But now it has been eclipsed by that easily, and it didn't really, I don't think the Tomahawk even seen it coming. But MSI, like I said, they've done a fantastic job. So yeah, the B550 Tomahawk is a board that I've always wanted to try out. I've never managed to get hold of one. I've either ordered one and it's not turned up, or something's gone wrong, or I've lost the eBay bid or whatever, and it's always eluded me. So now I'm happy that I've got it. I was going to start doing the unboxing and a review on that this evening, but after eating the pizza, it nearly killed me, and no, not going to happen. So that'll be coming up. I'll probably film that either later on tonight after I finish this stream, or we'll be doing it tomorrow, and you'll probably see it Monday or Tuesday. We've already filmed a couple of videos for next week already, and actually this week has been a super busy week. We've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 videos plus a stream already this week. So yeah, that's pretty good going for us. We've got squeezing a few extra videos out, trying to push the envelope, trying to get a bit more content out to you guys, so you don't sat there at home on your furlough, bored out your minds, twiddling your thumb in your pants, doing whatever it is you do.
Patreon as well.
Yeah, and also, yeah, Kath, well done, thanks for mentioning that. We're also trying to release the videos a day or two earlier on Patreon, so if you want to get a sneak peek at them, you can follow us on Patreon. And obviously, if you do go onto Patreon, you could potentially get yourself Mike's Unboxing, dual action, stylus and pen. Oh yes, you need one of these in your life. They are great pens. And actually, where's mine? I broke one this week. It upset me a little bit. Where is it? Is it here? Yeah. The clicky bit on the end doesn't work anymore. But it still works as a pen, and it still works as a stylus, because fortunately it stuck with the nib, or the pen end sticking out a little bit. So I'm going to take it apart. I'm pretty sure it's just right. I was doing some stuff in my day job and I dropped it from a pretty decent height. So it was like the crash test they do on those phone cases that you always see on YouTube adverts. What's those phone cases they drop from off the side of a mountain or a cliff or something and they just work? Unfortunately, this pen hasn't got that particular protection, so this one's bitten the bullet, so never mind. These things happen. Anyway, moving on, let's have a look at some more of your questions, because I've gone right off the deep end now, haven't I? So, Trooper C, we've answered your question. We got a long way around it, but there we go. Ricardo says, the B450 Pro Wi-Fi have been my dream of motherboard. However, prices are way too high. In AMD, Intel is now a little bit lower. Yeah, Intel, I think Intel are going to have to start fighting back now. Hopefully the prices will drop, the motherboards are going to have to drop. We'll see what happens with Intel. I'd imagine if you're an Intel shareholder right now, you're possibly crapping your pants a little bit, because things are going bad on a daily basis almost for those guys. You got to feel a little bit sorry for them. Not very sorry, but just a little smidge. Crackmatic says, please read my message and help me.
You did.
Oh, I did.
That's why I told you.
Chill, Crackmatic. Hold your horses. I'll get you in good time. Probably. I get to most people. Tristan G says, I purchased the Gigabyte B550. How did that work out for you, Tristan? Hopefully it's a good board and you're very, very happy. Paul Bakewell says, I have seen a picture of the pink gaming chair. Hard to think of anything positive to say.
Oh, my little face.
Poor calf. Aww. She would love that pink and white chair because you know that those white bits are going to get grubby as hell in a very, very short matter of time. Especially when the cats are on it, being scratching and clawing and licking their asses and all that kind of stuff that cats do.
They do, not my cats.
Oh, yeah, someone mentioned about the spider. No, no, we haven't. Captain Meat, no, the spider hasn't made a reappearance. And we would know because it would like have to lift up things to get past. Come burling past.
It was the size of a mouse, I swear.
It was about the size of a mouse. It was huge. Concept Soup says that eBay code was awesome. Has now expired though. Sad times. Got a B550. Come on, speak, Michael. B550 Tomahawk for £150, ready for whatever 12 core comes out for Ryzen Next Gen. Also 6600 Supers for 182 were awesome. That is pretty good. Pretty good. Ricardo says, I'd like an Aorus B550 Pro AC, wishing for an AX version of it. Well, you never know. Trooper C, why does Mike look like he is getting younger? I don't know. Why is that? I haven't shaved or anything today. I'm right mess. I haven't done my head, I haven't done my head. I haven't parted my head. I haven't styled my head or plucked my ears and all that usual stuff.
These Play-Doh moulds for your hair. Different hairstyles each week.
Ah, dear. I know. Concept Soup says the Pro VDH Max was a great B450, so this should be great too. Agreed. Concept Soup also says first player DKD3. Oh my god, I've scrolled way too far past that. No, it's gone. Jesus, there's loads of comments.
It could be the
Sorry,
feeling.
I'm just, it could, no.
Right,
I can't say that because people will get pissed off.
It didn't work on me.
Oh dear, no. Anyway, sorry, I've missed that question altogether now. Tristan G says, remember that the B550 isn't compatible with the Ryzen 2000 series CPUs, so upgrading to B550 will require Ryzen 3000 CPUs. I learned the expensive way. There are some chips, I keep on hearing this, and again, my kind of insider has also said that they managed to get 1600 AFs working on various B550 boards and actually installed. So it looks like most of the chips aren't supposed to work, but it does seem that there is a fair few that actually will. Kath's smiling, so either she's got wind or someone's posted something which is bad, probably. She's absolutely. Don't be wetting yourself on my chair.
I'm not that old.
Yeah. Just don't cough and laugh because you know you're gonna have an accident. Anyway, moving on. I'm horrible.
Yeah.
Paul Bakewell says PayPal are very good at refunds. They are. Although some refunds take ages. The one I did with, what was that company I bought that crap cheap PC from? Game. Was it Game? And it came in that GameMax case, it was smashed up. It was game.co.uk, wasn't it? Yeah. That refund took bloody ages.
No, because the GameMax, that one. That came from CCR, wasn't it?
No. The PC, I remember I bought that custom, that all-in-one PC for about 200 quid, expecting it to be crap, and it was. And I sent it back.
Vaguely, yeah.
And
Anything but Amazon takes ages, though.
Yeah. Dave Aitken says, I just drove to Fish Ponds. Fish Ponds is an area local to the Bristol.
With no ponds and no fish.
Yeah, actually, weirdly, there's no ponds there and no fish.
My nephew was very disappointed the first time we went.
Yeah, why do they call it fish ponds? Was there fish in ponds at some point?
They had a Lido, though. Is it a Lido? Have I said something wrong?
Possibly. David Aitken says, I just drove to Fish Ponds to drop off the RX 480. They paid by bank transfer. Good job, I'm a trustworthy person, lol. Oh dear. Yusuf says, lol, that's basically ARGB fans all the time. And he says, me, I can't type. Aurora says, is Kath addressable? Yeah, Kath. Yep, she looked up. I addressed her. It works. Oh yeah, Kath saying, yeah, David, you are paid by us by bank transfer too. That was a little bit too trusting. Although David was actually here physically at Mike's Unboxing HQ, so could have quite easily got him into a headlock and give him a couple of grannies on the head. Ah, dear. Dave Burns says, no, you will not be filming tonight, Mike. Tell him at Kath Churchill. Oh yeah, because Dave Burns, also known as AKA Aki Shadow, IKEA Shadow actually, will be streaming later on the Twitch. If you know what the Twitch is, it's what all the young kids do these days. So if you want to join us over on the Twitch, I got the wrong teeth in tonight. Seriously. Oh yeah. Oh, did you hear that crack, Dan? Jesus! For all your for all your headphone users out there, I do apologise. That my jaw almost come out the side of my face then. Holy shit.
Is that getting younger thing?
Yeah, I am getting younger. I think all my bones are shrinking and falling apart. Ah, dear Lord. It's going wrong. I haven't even had a drink yet. What are we drinking tonight? Because we need a drink, I think. What's the matter?
The replay of you doing that.
I had a delay on the screen, sorry. Yeah, I did eat too much pizza. It's not good for me. I've way too much pizza and it's just, I'm not well now. What?
Wait.
What am I doing? What am I doing? Sorry about this. Oh dear, I amuse myself too much, it's bad. British Noob says, I use goods and services for everyone but people I trust, aka Mike, Knight and David. Westside Young Noob, thank you for that. Whoa, got a black screen, what's going on? Did the stream die? No. No, you pressed the wrong button. Silly woman. Dave Burns says, my missus stole my pen. I've had people get divorced for less than that. Tech Thug Gamer said, Tug Tech Gamer. Thug Tech Gamer. Jesus Christ, I'm really struggling tonight. I do apologise, everybody. I haven't taken any narcotics, I swear. Although it might be helpful. Thug Tech Gamer says, okay, I feel funny. Not as funny as me, I feel weird.
Thug needs to go to bed now, so can you say goodnight?
Good night, Thug.
He's sorry.
Sleep well.
But time zone.
See you in the Discord. Yusuf says, will you do any more B550 reviews? Well, if you guys and girls want to watch them, then yeah, I'll make them. What boards do you want to see reviewed? Let me know. Tell me in the comments. Or better still, tell me on the Discord. In the Discord channel, there is a room or channel or whatever you want to call it. Video suggestions. Just put it in there, video suggestions, put what it is, either an Amazon link or a picture or whatever. Do it in hieroglyphs if you like, I don't really care. And I'll take a look. Skystalker says mouse phone cases, that's the ones. I could see the logo in my mind's eye, you know, the third eye thing. But I couldn't say it. I could see it, but I couldn't say it. It's like catchphrase, but ran the other way. It was weird.
Don't say what you see.
Tristan G says, Mike, it's a great pen, but unfortunately it broke. Is that a sales pitch? It's just realism. Ultimately, this is a pen which is probably mass produced in some dirty factory in China. no, it's not actually. I know where these are made. They are actually made in the United Kingdom. They're made in the greatest country ever, allegedly. So they keep telling me. World leaders in Wales. And yeah, just from slightly over the bridge. So
not quite this country then.
Well, it's United Kingdom. Sort of, I think, isn't it still? I don't know. Yes, they're produced over in Wales. Probably why they don't work. Moving on. David Burns says Intel 9th Gen have sneakily dropped in price around 25%, and they're still so overpriced that nobody noticed. Simagor says, hi Mike, how you doing? And hi Supernova. And who else is in here? Oh, why does this keep moving? No drugs on me. Okay, I'm trying to catch up here. Carlsberg, someone said, Soaked Gel says that. Made in Norway. Angry Doe says handmade pens. Oh, yeah, not necessarily my hands, but someone's hands have actually done it. Actually, let's do a quick teardown. See if I can fix it. You can actually refill them. They do take the standard refills. Yep, nothing else in there.
John or Jones is, hey Mike, do you think it's good to buy a Gigabyte RX 5600 XT now? I'm scared of the AMD drivers and their crashes.
Ooh, I don't want to come out of there. We'll have to have a look at that. To be continued. So, Jack Jones says, hey Mike, do you think it's good to buy a Gigabyte RX 560 XT now? I'm scared of the AMD drivers and their crashes. Weirdly, I have actually covered that exact topic in today's video, which, not today's, the one I recorded today, which was, try not to drop any things on myself. About this bad boy, the Evga Rtx 2060 KO. Now this is kind of the legendary graphics card that was legendary for probably the wrong reasons. A, that it was very cheap. B, that it was made very cheap. But C, that it had the magical secret sauce of having a RTX 2080 die actually inside of it, just with it kind of fused or cut down so you couldn't use all the features. So essentially this is a weird hybrid card, which is somewhere between a 2060 and a 2070 Super in some tasks. In most things, games, it's a 2060. Doesn't really particularly run that quickly, although saying that, I've been doing some benchmarks today and actually not a bad card. But yeah, the reason why I went with this, well, 3 reasons. Spoiler alert, this is going to be in the video anyway, so you're getting it up front in personal right now. 3 main reasons I went for this card over a AMD card. Number 1, much more stable drivers. Number 2, OBS hardware support for streaming, that kind of stuff. And 3, the extra support for productivity tasks like rendering and that kind of stuff, where for me personally, in my own video editing rig, that makes a massive amount of sense. Now, I could have went with a 5600 XT or maybe a 5700, similar sort of price points. 5700s tend to be around about the £300 mark. This I managed to pick up for $269 on Amazon of all places, where it is effectively a little bit less than the recommended retail price. So I thought this was really good for $270. The other cards around it, similar kind of prices, similar features, and most of the cards are within kind of throw-in distance of each other, so maybe 5% maximum either way in the same sort of price point. But ultimately it came down to the drivers. Now I dearly would love to be able to do a all AMD system. I would, genuinely. It would make my heart sing having to only install AMD drivers, but we all know what's going to happen. AMD drivers at some point are going to go completely crazy and the system's going to be unusable for a while, which when I'm trying to pump out a YouTube video every day of the week pretty much, or I'm researching for a next video, or I'm on the Discord answering questions, or on YouTube answering all the hundreds of thousands of people that ask questions, I cannot afford for my PC to be unreliable. So ultimately it came down to an NVIDIA graphics card, which I know for some people, especially the fanboys, will be like, oh, AMD cards are much better and you get more value for money. Yes, you do. They generally tend to be a little bit faster and a little bit cheaper. But the trade-off is, as we all know, they ain't that reliable. They really aren't. The amount of people that we get on a Discord with problems with graphics cards, very, very rarely is it to do with NVIDIA. Normally, it's almost like the first question we've got, is it a 5700 XT? Is it a 5700? Is it a 5600? Is it an RX 580? And more times than not it is, which is a real shame, because again, I would love to see an AMD, full AMD system and it not be an issue. The main reason why the PC behind me, in the case there, that is all AMD. But every now and then the fan goes crazy on that Gigabyte card and it just spins up for no reason. So I've actually had to turn fan stop off so it spins continually so it doesn't ramp up for no reason. Now it does ramp up for a reason, it's because it crosses the 40-degree threshold in the case, so it briefly spins up. But for some reason the card decides it wants to spin up to 100% and then shut off again, rather than just starting up slowly, then kicking off. Weird things. That is what we've come to expect from AMD drivers. Weird shit happens, and that is why, really, still for me, NVIDIA is the more sensible solution. And also resale value. Resale value for NVIDIA cards on the used market is so much better than AMD cards. You look up now, a good for example, you can do this now, this is something you can all play along at home. This is the card it's replacing, so this is the Evga Geforce Gtx 1070. This is the SC model from EVJ. Beast of a card, and actually almost twice the size and twice the weight of the one I've just replaced it with, which seemed very odd. But you look at the used prices of these. Used price of this on eBay at the moment, sold items, anywhere between £100 for one which doesn't barely work, just for like the fans and the cooler. But for a one in a box in good condition, 200, 225, even 250. There was some on there I sold for 300 new. It's like, are you smoking? Seriously. So the resale value for NVIDIA cards is always seems to be much better than AMD cards. Whereas now you can pick up a used kind of 5800 for £100, £120. You can actually pick up some 5700s for like silly money. So the resale value on a lot of the AMD cards ain't great. And to be fair, a lot of the processors are in the same sort of boat, also with motherboards as well. It just seems that AMD doesn't have a great resale value, which I don't really understand why, because they do offer a great value for money, but I suppose reliability and longevity don't always follow suit. Anyway, let's have a look at some more of your questions. Ghost Hunter says, the day I got my RX 570, I had driver issues, and that's how I found Mike. There's a sweet story if I ever heard one. But yeah, I totally get you. That is, I would say probably my more popular videos on YouTube are probably related to driver issues, and mostly the AMD one, the code 43 or code 41 or whatever it was, where it needs the open cl.dll. That's been a massive video for us, and we still get people on a daily basis come into the Discord. Where's the OpenCL file, please? Please, sir, can I have some more? Yeah, it's in the pin section in the tech channel. That is a good cup of tea right there.
Why? That's okay.
I will thank you by drinking it.
Okay.
Ninja47 says, I don't like AMD cards, I think that was supposed to be. I've owned an RX 480, a 580, 590, and all has some sort of coil whine and were hotter than all NVIDIA cards I've owned. There is another, that's just a really good point. The NVIDIA cards generally, on the whole, in the similar price performance brackets, use considerably less power and do seem to be less noisy, as in coil whine, whether they're made better. Coil whine generally tends to come from cheaper components, or actually the components not being fixed to the boards properly, or not having insulation or isolation to prevent that coil whine. So yeah, it is Nvidia, as much as I don't like to put money their way, because I don't think they're a particularly nice company. I think they're pretty shady in a lot of things they do. But ultimately, I need reliability, I need longevity, and ideally I'd like some resale value. So yeah, the Nvidia cards generally seem to be the way to go. And in fact, this card, the 1070, I actually bought this used anyway, and when I bought it, it cost me, I think, £200, and it hadn't been out that long. Maybe year, maybe 2 years. And even now, if I sold it, I'd probably still get £200 for it. So basically, it's been a great investment because it's now worth essentially what I bought it for. Yeah, I've had a couple of years use out of it. So just goes to show Nvidia at the moment is a pretty decent investment. Although if you bought one of the first generation of RTX cards rather, the 2070 or the 2080 that had those dodgy RAM chips where they started doing all the graphical craziness, then yeah, those were probably not such a great investment. But as they've matured, which is why I've waited, what's it, about 6 months now since this has been out. I think it was announced Computex last year, I think it was, and then they were kind of hitting the shelves December, January this year. Well, December of last year, January this year. So yeah, it's had a good few months to stabilise and to become a decent card. Hence why I bought one. Nick Momberg says, resale value is down to marketing. And don't forget, those Nvidia cards have extra cost on them anyway. Plus people are misled that they are the only ones for true gamers. It does seem weird though how Nvidia have managed to get such a massive market share of the graphics card market. I think it's like 70% or 60%, if not more. They must be doing something right, clearly. Pricing is definitely not one of those things because they are rather expensive. And like any other company, they've had their ups and downs. They've had certain releases which have not fared particularly well, or that they've had bad publicity, like the GTX 970s when they came out with the 4 gigs of RAM thing, which was basically 3.5 gigs, but it didn't really matter because it was still actually a really good performing card, and price per performance, it beat anything that AMD had at the time. Jack Jones, what do you think Intel should do to get back on top of CPUs? That is a very good question, and I don't know if they can. I think it's going to take some very clever engineering and it's hearts and minds, but basically they need to win back the hearts and minds of the enthusiast. At the moment, Intel have always been that kind of, oh, you're really good processors, but you're so bastard expensive, much like Nvidia. If you've got an Intel system and you've got an AMD system, you can pretty much guarantee that the Intel system is going to have less problems with it and is going to be more stable, and generally will have less blue screens and all that kind of stuff, and just generally works. Typically an Intel system, you can put the processor in, stick the RAM in, turn it on, start up Windows, and you're good to go. You don't have to go into the BIOS and set PBO and turn on XMP to get the actual proper performance out of it. It just works. Regardless of the memory speeds, generally it doesn't make a great deal of difference if you use faster RAM on Intel or not. Whereas with AMD, there is that quite large element of hand holding, going into the BIOS, maybe undervolting it a little bit because the cooler doesn't quite do the job. There's a lot of tweaking and tinkering we have to do with AMD. So yes, they are better processors and they are cheaper, they're faster, perform better, etc. But with that, you have got the hand holding and the reliability stakes. Quite often you get a motherboard, people try and update a BIOS and it fails, or they put a system together and it doesn't boot properly the first time. It tends to be more of the case with AMD systems than it does Intel. I'm not an Intel fanboy. I hate using Intel unless I have to, or unless it's a ridiculously good bargain. So I'm not saying that because I'm a fanboy. I'm saying it because that is a reality, and working as basically a at-home technician, trying to fix people's problems on the Discord and on YouTube channel and etc. You see it. You see a really, really wide spectrum of all these problems, and generally, most of them tend to be pretty much squarely at AMD's doorstep, which is unfortunate. I'll probably lose about 20 subscribers now. Trooper C says, do you have any coil whine with the RTX 2060 KO? The card I got was hot, loud and ridiculous coil whine, hence why I changed to the 5700 XT. No, I did 3 or 4 benchmarks, one after the other, using that card. The only thing I did find is the fans were definitely slightly noisier than the 1070, but it was boosting particularly well. Weirdly, I'm pretty sure I've seen it boosting up to like 2100 megahertz, which, being that it's a 1680 megahertz card and it's supposed to boost to kind of ultra speeds of about 1755 thereabouts, maybe 1800 if you're lucky, to see it every now and then peaking at 2100 seemed like mind was blown. This seems to run really well, so yeah, it was a little bit noisier, I will admit, although in the GameX F15 case, there's so much airflow in that thing. There's so much airflow. It's just, it is genuinely a great case. I love that case to bits. I really do. I wish it didn't collect so much dust, but high airflow equals dust, unless you've got ridiculously good filters, in which case good filters don't mean high airflow. So swings and roundabouts. But in there, even under the stress tests and all that sort of stuff, 65, 66 degrees under full load, no problem. I haven't tried overclocking it yet, which I don't know if I will. I don't think these days overclocking really does give you a massive benefit, especially graphics cards. They generally tend to boost to where they want to boost to, and possibly it will make it last a lot longer. The 1070, I think I overclocked maybe once just to see what it would do, and then reverted back to the stock settings, and I've left it like that ever since. So overclocking isn't dead, but it's becoming less and less of a thing you have to do to squeeze performance. Now that AMD have got the upper hand performance-wise, pretty much, do you need to overclock? What is it you're trying to overclock? What are you trying to beat? You're not trying to beat the Intel processors, because pretty much you're there already. There isn't really much point. It just introduces instability in a lot of cases. Dave Bell says the I/O on the 2060 KO is weird. DVI 1X. Yeah, the actual I/O on that card is pretty bizarre. There's 3 outputs, 1 DisplayPort, 1 HDMI and 1 DVI-D, which is yeah, not a lot, but then depending on what you're using it for, like for me, I've only got 1 monitor attached. Potentially I might hook up another so I can use DVI and DisplayPort, DisplayPort and HDMI. Absolutely fine. I don't need 3 monitors, so I wouldn't be using them anyway. But if I did want the next, well, if I did want multi-monitor support, obviously I'd go with 2070 or something like that.
Ricardo's got to leave.
Oh, thanks, Ricardo. Dave Bell says, never had a problem with AMD CPU, GPU is another matter. NVIDIA, never a problem. Yeah, it is quite rare. Nick Monberg says, if you're worried about AMD card, go for the one that offers longer warranty. Many companies offer 3 years plus. Also in this country, you're covered by the extra consumer regulations. Yeah, that's actually a really good point. It is worth doing that, although a lot of companies won't actually cover a warranty if it's not actually a hardware fault. If it's a driver issue and it's just buggy until the next driver comes out, it doesn't really help you. You're left in the same position. The EVGA cards all come with a 3-year warranty, at least for European customers. And a really nice feature, which I found out today, is the warranty is transferable. So even giving you more resale value, because you can actually buy this card, and as long as you give the next person proof that you've actually bought it, that you've bought it and they've bought it, they can actually claim on the warranty still. There's a limited third-person warranty, which is brilliant as far as I'm concerned. I can't really, well, how can you complain at that? Giving you massive resale value, because then if you put in your listing on eBay or Facebook or wherever it is, EVGA card with third user warranty, if applicable, you can easily add on extra £50 at least, I would have thought, to sell a card with a warranty. I don't know, what do you think? I think so. Calf's got a finger up, means something.
Says, can we talk about not updating BIOS? It's really long.
Dave Burns, he burns because his name is Dave. There's loads of questions, okay. Yusuf says, I like how he's reading old comments. There's loads of old comments. Okay.
Is that sarcasm or real?
I don't know. Soten Joel says, I got coil wine on my 1080 golden sample, but it overclocks like a champ. Put some headphones on. You won't notice it.
Or get me talking.
Yeah. Or get me talking, yeah. Right, I better catch up, haven't I? Dave Burns, okay, let's go to Dave Burns. So Dave Burns, aka Akia Shadow. Akia Shadow.
Achia.
Or Achia Shadow, I don't know. It's just words on the screen, you read it in your head. It's like when someone says Woa. When you read it in a cartoon or a comic, it's W-O-H-A. A-H, Wawa.
Okay.
Rather than whoa, or Nasher, or Gnasher. Anyway, I'm going off topic. So, Dave Burns, aka Aki Shadow, in our Discord and also on the Twitch. Yeah, really good thing. Please, people, if you don't need to update your BIOS, mother. That's what it keeps on doing. Did you hear that then? The fans ramp up. I turned the damn thing off, so. Did it reboot? No, it didn't. Damn you, graphics card. AMD, that's going in there. Yeah, don't update your BIOSes unless you need to, please. For the love of God and all things that are good. If your system's unstable, it's probably not the BIOS. It's unlikely. You can look into it, but it's unlikely. The amount of people we get on a daily basis, either in the YouTube questions, mostly I then refer them back to our Discord, and they come onto the Discord and say, hi, my system was working really well, and then I did a BIOS update, and now I have a black screen, and the mouse and keyboard don't work. Yeah. So why did you do the BIOS update? Oh, yeah, because it's new. Yeah, okay. Don't do it. Don't update your BIOS unless there is a legitimate reason to do it, i.e. you've bought a processor which needs a newer BIOS. If you haven't done that and your system boots and you maybe got some instability, still don't do it. The BIOS update should be a last resort thing. You shouldn't need to do it. Most people would have a system and use it for the entire longevity that they keep that system and never even go into the BIOS, let alone update the BIOS. So don't think that because a motherboard has a BIOS flashback button that is something that you should do every morning before you go for a dump. It ain't that kind of thing, so leave the BIOS alone. Don't think that it's a cool and fun thing to do. It can brick your device. Quite often it will do. Sometimes it's recoverable. A lot of the times it isn't. So do be careful. Listen to the words I'm saying. Stop Dave from having somewhat of a heart attack every time you see someone post a comment in the Discord, and just don't do it. You don't need to do it. Please, please don't do it. Or at least if you're going to do it, ask us first, get our opinion before you go ahead and start sticking USBs in with BIOS ROMs, because bad things can happen and often do. Sorry, Kath.
It would be fun if they wanted to join our Discord. They could come into the tech rooms and pretend they've done it.
Yeah, actually, yeah, if you want to join our Discord and go into the tech rooms just to wind up Dave, aka Akia Shadow, and just say that you've updated your BIOS when really you haven't even got a computer, that would be fantastic. There are people on our Discord who don't even own a computer, but yet know all the answers. So we all know what we're talking about on this one, don't we? Anyway, moving on. Oh dear. Oh God, there's talk about football. I'm not going to go there because that's going to get out of hand very quickly. Trooper C says, just updated my BIOS for no reason. Does this mean I should revert? No. Step away from the USB stick. Kenny D says, did 2 BIOS updates and I've had no problems whatsoever. Probably shouldn't have done it. See, that's the thing. You've been really lucky, or you've got a little bit of technical ability and nice, and you've maybe done it a few times before. In which case, cool, go for it, knock yourself out. It's all part of the fun of owning a PC and tinkering and tweaking with the things and seeing what you get in new settings. For a lot of people, they think of it like installing a driver, which can be generally easily reverted, or you can reinstall Windows. But with a BIOS, that is the key to the system. If you lose the key, you're locked out, that's it. You need to buy a new door or motherboard. You know what I mean? So yeah, don't do it. please don't do it. It's not worth it. It really isn't. Unless you've got a board which has a dual BIOS which you can switch across. In which case, yeah, knock yourself out, do what you like. Dave Aiken says at Dave Burns is borderline stress-induced heart attack 90% of his life. Yeah, that probably is, that is about right. Skystalker says, lol, love Mike's PSAs. I don't know what that means. Oh, public service announcement. I got it. Well done. Ninja47 actually brings up a really good question here, and this is one which I have actually faced on a number of occasions, or numerous occasions. Why can RAM be so dodgy? He says, I've owned 16 gig kits of DDR4 before and they've been fine for months, then one stick doesn't get recognised, then you have to reseat the RAM, lol. Right, there's a...
Somebody bought the
yeah, I was about to say, yeah.
Okay.
The main thing with RAM is because of the way it works. Now, RAM basically gets warm and it expands, and then when it gets cold again, you turn the PC off, it cools down and it shrinks. And because the little bits of metal which hold the RAM in are essentially like springs, so you're putting a stick into like a spring, and every time you do it, it's always trying to push it out. So if it's not firmly seated, that expansion and contraction eventually will make the chip sometimes come a little bit loose, so it doesn't get a good contact, in which case you need to just reseat the RAM and generally it'd be okay. That is normally seen. But if you're using Corsair RGB RAM, especially the Dominator RGB, there does seem to be a worrying trend of that going just bad, almost overnight. Now, our son had that, and luckily it's lifetime warranty, so I got it sorted out, but it's still a pain in the backside. The guy that I bought this motherboard off, no, not that one, the other one, B550 Tomahawk, he had exactly the same thing where he had some Corsair RAM and literally was working, turned it on, nothing. RGB still works, PC would not boot at all as if there was no RAM in there. And it does seem that is a very, very common thing. I've read, well, just type it in Google, Corsair RGB RAM stops working. It's like a major thing. So yeah, Corsair, you do pay a premium for their products, but they're crap. There you go. Public service announcement number 2. You can have that one on for free. Dave Burns and Dave Aitken. Yes, yeah, they do both live on the edges. Dave Burns is the more, how would I say? I would say between Dave Aitken and Dave Burns on our Discord, they're both in the expert rank, and they're both like good cop, bad cop. And I think they'd probably agree with me on that. One of the Daves comes in and diffuses the situation, and the other Dave just likes to stick his dick in the hornet's nest. He really does.
And slam the door.
And slam the door. Skystalker says, I've updated a BOS many times. Every time I do it, when it reboots, my sphincter factor is 10. We've all been there. We've all been there. The reason why I'm laughing is because I know exactly that feeling of the sphincter tightening. It's like, please work, please work, please work, please work, and then your system boots up and it says press F1 to enter BOS. And it's like when you've had a really big meal and you've been to the toilet and it's like, yes, relief.
You do it to keep your pelvic floor muscles
Thank you.
working.
Muckless Mike, I'll ask again, can you test a PSU is working without connecting PC parts? Yes, kind of. You can test the fact that it will actually power on. You can't really test that all of the individual rails and connections are okay, but if you get a paper clip, there is a way you can stick it into the green and one of the black connectors, although they generally tend to be not color coded anymore, so you'll need to look it up on the internet. But there are certain pins you can put a paper clip in just to short it out, or alternatively you can actually buy I think I've got it here somewhere, no I haven't. You can get basically a PSU testing device which you just plug into the end of the 24-pin connector and it creates a short, and if your power supply is working it will fire up. You can get another one as well, which I believe I think it was Antec made them, and you plug it in and it's got green or red LED, so if the 5 volts okay, it'll be a green LED, 3.3 green LED, etc, etc. You get the general idea. It is essentially a tester. It's not a fully featured one, it won't test loads and stuff like that, but it just tests that all of the signals are working. So maybe I'll try and find some links for those, and that was a cat. See if I can find the links for those at some point and I'll post them. So hopefully Mucklist answers your question. Chip creep. Yes, O'Reilly is correct. Yes, chip creep is actually another thing as well this week on our Discord. O'Reilly SLP agreed kindly to be part of our expert community and is now available to take your questions on all things Windows Server, Linux, WSUS, HTML, other things. many things. We've actually got a really nice, really wide, diverse range of experts on our experts group on Discord. And Noob, obviously. Although he is the peripherals god, he knows his peripherals. Or is it profiteroles? I think it's his profiteroles he was more encouraged with. Matthew Day says the basic PSU dead test, paperclip into the green wire and black pin. Yeah, that's the badger. Yusuf says, is there such thing as a RAM cooler? Yes, there is, and Corsair actually do a RAM cooler. I think it's called the Dominator kit, and it just clips on the top. And we've got a super chat situation, ladies and gentlemen. And Dave Burns has chucked £3 into the kitty and says RGB time. Because if you send a super chat, basically it's all set up through IFTTTTTT, which there's a video on, which I might link one day. But it triggers the light bulb and we get a bit of RGB notification. So thank you very much, Dave. Thanking you. No doubt I'll have to give that back later on his Twitch stream, but hey, it's all a big money merry-go-round. It's like, is that a tax fiddle? No, can't be. Yusuf says, show us the cat. Unfortunately, he's gone out.
He likes to cry to go out because his cat flap shouldn't be used unless we're asleep.
Paul Bakewell says, try updating BIOS on servers for that feeling of bad things are going to happen. Yeah, I think I did. I'll get back to that. We have another super chat. The other Dave, the Dave brothers. Dave the diffuser. Thanks, Dave Aiken, who puts in £3 and a penny into the hat just to be 1 pence better than the other Dave. You guys, good cop, bad cop, told you. Is that going to stay on there? No. Thank you very much, guys. Appreciate that. Where do I go back to? Dear. Yusuf says, I haven't built a PC yet, but I'm saving up over £2,000 for a full setup. Will take me a year or two though. Yusuf, how can I put this? If you save for a PC, you'll never buy a PC. Or at least if you buy components, you won't. If you save it all up and then do it all in one go, you'll do it. But don't do it piecemeal. So don't think, oh great, I'll buy a motherboard now. Oh, that's my microphone broken. Don't buy like a motherboard now, some RAM in a month's time, processor a couple of months' time, because that is a really bad way of doing it. And also, if anything goes bad or is faulty, you can't test it. So I would advise against doing it that particular way. Buy it all in one go. Yeah, Paul Bakewell said, try updating BIOS on servers for that feeling of bad things are going to happen. I've only ever done that once on a, it was a Windows small business server, 2003, and I had to update the BIOS on that. And literally, everybody who worked in the company was in like an open plan office, and the server was set up at basically another worker's desk with a keyboard, mouse, monitor, etc. And I had to sit there with basically the entire eyes of the entire workforce all looking at the back of my head as I was going through and watching the BIOS bar go. And that was the slowest 5 minutes of my entire life. I was sweating, it was horrendous, I was having palpitations, I was nervously fiddling with screwdrivers, spanners, cable ties. I even looked for a cable tie to put around my neck. It was just that bad. I really wanted the world to just swallow me up and die. When an entire company can't use their server because it's waiting on a BIOS update, which potentially won't work, is possibly one of the most terrifying things you can ever do. So yeah, if anyone ever has to do that, yeah, it's bad times. Jack Jones says, is Corsair really bad? I think they're overrated, if I'm completely honest with you. I've had the Corsair, was it the 750D case, which was a really nice case, loads of features, massive case, it really was. Had pretty good airflow, but had like a acrylic side window on it. And for how much it cost, I never paid for it because I bought it second hand, but if you'd bought it brand new, it was crazy money, like nearly £200 when it came out. Nowhere near worth that money. There's other cases on the market which were of a similar kind of spec for half the price. You definitely pay a Corsair tax on those sorts of things. And Corsair's RGB setup is like, what is going on with that? It looks nice. Like, you can probably see it behind me. Move my head there, you can see it. So it's got a really nice kind of chase pattern. But having said that, there's pretty much probably 10, 20, 30 different Chinese companies that have all copied that, and you can buy cases that will just do that all day long. Now, yes, you can configure that and you can make up your own things and you can synchronize it with software. You can run it with Far Cry 5, so if you get scratched by a lion, you get scratch marks down your keyboard and the lights go red for blood, or if there's a fire, they kind of do a flame effect, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, that is definitely cool AF. And you're unlikely to be able to do that on any other system, maybe other than probably Thermaltake. So yes, it does have its advantages, but realistically, for 99% of people, they don't need it. As long as it's got some RGB lights and it looks nice and doesn't cost an absolute fortune, I think most people will be sold. I picked up a case really cheap and I paid for the case pretty much what the fans are worth on their own. So I kind of see that as almost a freebie. Whether or not it's going to stay, I don't know. It really does need, you can't see it, can you? It really does need a fan in the back to pull out some of the air. Although, saying that, I will be doing some testing in this, and so far, I hate saying this, I really do, but the 3 fans at the front on their own without an exhaust actually does work pretty well, and is within spitting distance of other cases that I've reviewed that do have more fans or an exhaust fan. So, yeah, that is something I wasn't expecting. I was expecting the heating or the temperatures to not be that good, but weirdly they've turned out pretty decent. Okay. So they all saw the cat.
The cat. It's Maisie.
The Maisie. I had to drag her out of a bush when she was trying to have intercourse with another cat.
And we had a hole in the bush.
There was a hole in the bush in the shape of me. I was kind of like
all summer.
In through the bush, and all through the summer, I walked past it and there's just an imprint of me where I dived into the bush to drag her out.
And that's where the one that cried came from.
Trooper C says Corsair fans are stupid expensive. It baffles me. It does. It does. Yeah, it baffles me. Gary Hay says, I think you're having a love affair with China, Mike. I'm not. Actually, a lot of the Chinese stuff I don't really like, but pretty much everything is made in China in some way, shape or form. I keep on saying this. Pretty much everything, raw materials like the aluminium that this can's made out of, I would imagine the materials came from China because it's so much cheaper to get it made over there. Even when you have to ship it across the world, it still costs less. Like any of you have bought from AliExpress or Alibaba or Wish, that sort of thing, you've probably seen it before where you've bought something which is probably 99p and they charge you like a penny postage and it still somehow manages to get here. How the hell do they send anything anywhere for that amount of money? Even for the full price, £1. It costs more than that to send a letter in the UK to someone who lives in the next street to you.
I used to buy
This is crazy.
off of eBay for 1p.
Yeah.
Posted.
That's from China, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, like eBay, Kath was just saying then, Nintendo DS, the little sticks you used to use on the screens, you buy a pack of 3 of those on eBay for 1p.
Posted.
And that was posted. Now how is that even possible? If you went anywhere in the UK, you went into like game.co.uk or even Poundland, they're going to cost £1 at least, aren't they? Anywhere else, $5.99 for a set of 3 Wii Nintendo DS sticks, easily. China, they'll send them to your doorstep for a penny. You can't compete with that, you really can't.
Also said, how do you pronounce Linux or Linux?
Either way. Well, technically I suppose Linux is Linux or Linux. It depends where you are. And also who you're speaking to, because if you're going off the guy who kind of created it, is it Linus Torvalds or Linus Torvalds? I suppose, I don't know. Ask him, he should know, he made it. Nick Moonberg says China has deals with the UK for postage. That would certainly do it. V-Gang Wheels Pete says, be great to see the F15 on show mic. It would. It would. That would be, yeah. I wish they did an F15 Micro ATX. Well, technically I suppose they do. That's the GameX Kamikaze. I've just debunked myself. Damn, I hate when I do that.
That's my job.
That is what I really want up here. The Kamikaze Pro.
I thought you meant brains.
And brains. Yeah. Anyway, cheers everybody. It's the first beer in a long time. Dave Bell says, Linus Torvald. I've probably not pronounced that right. But yeah, that's the badger right there. Gary Haig says, I avoid China. Last 2 orders never turned up. Still, they did send COVID-19 for free. Oh, political, demonetized. I'm not even going to answer that. Tristan G says, cheers. Right on, brother. David Thompson says, took 6 hours for my arthritic hands to fit the damn motherboard. Oh. Sorry to hear that, but also I'm glad that you've actually gone ahead and done it regardless. That is one of the really nice things about PC building is there isn't really any kind of limitations on who can do it. You can be 8 years old, you can be 80 years old, as long as...
Can't be a cat.
Yeah, cats can't build PCs. I think the viewers know that. I think they're pretty sure that cats can't build a PC. They can't hold a screwdriver. They don't have the beans for it. Oh dear. Randall Lane says, cheers, has coffee. I should have had coffee. That would have made a lot more sense. David Thompson says, Linus. So there you go, that's how to pronounce it. Linus. Tech tips. David Aitken says, apart from Arctic cooler fan brackets. Yes. Matthew Day says, it's all downhill from now. Mike's on the Carlsberg.
And so am I.
Mike's can't do those. I can't, you're right. David Burns says, if TVO can build a PC, then a cat can. That is a Discord reference there. I do apologise. Dave Bell says, stuck with a 450 as my 3600 will last me a few years. Why not? The whole thing of the PCI Express Gen 4 is a very weird one, and I can see that the Gen 4 devices are not going to come through. The graphics cards, you're never going to saturate that bandwidth. I'd be amazed, literally amazed, I will probably fall off my chair if during the NVIDIA announcement for the 3000 series of GPUs, if they are PCI Express 4. I can't see any reason why they would be. I would imagine they're going to be PCI Express Gen 3, but Gen 4 compatible. They're not going to saturate the bandwidth on there, unlike some of the NVMe drives do. I have done a very limited amount of testing with the Phantom Gaming 4 with an NVMe 4x4 drive, that's Gen 4 times 4, and it was so fast, it was ridiculous. Like 5,000 megabits or megabytes on the read and 4,200 on the write or something. It was just, I always get those two confused. I always get them confused. I should write it down, but I don't. But anyway, yeah, those are some crazy numbers. And this is for a, not like a really expensive drive. This is a kind of off-the-shelf number, nothing special about it. Well, it's a decent drive, but it's not like a super expensive drive. So those sort of speeds are really nice to have. If you're doing any form of video editing, definitely, even photo rendering, all that kind of stuff. Anything that requires really fast data in and out or reads in and out, Gen 4 is a game changer. Video editing wise, you definitely notice it. Over my SSDs in my computer, I've got those TC Sunbow SSDs. So you're looking at 500 megabytes read, writes. With the NVMe in there, Adobe Premiere just kind of snappy, really does spring into life. You notice a difference straight away. So if you're into editing, definitely you can see a difference immediately. For most other things, like for gamers, I don't think it makes any difference whatsoever. Even in competitive play, maybe your map's going to load a fraction quicker. But if you need something with sustained data transfer at high speeds, then yeah, Gen 4 PCI Express is fantastic. But I don't think it's really got to the point where it's one of those needs, and it's not the big jump that it was from hard disk drives to SSDs. That was a game changer for a lot of people, whereas this is just like an incremental thing, and in certain cases is like mind-blowingly quick. Anyway, Sky Stalker says, an easy way to remember is that read will always be faster than write. Yes, of course. 5,000 read, 4,200 read. Write. Nearly got it wrong again. What was that about DMC? Ninja47 says, remember you need tweezers to build a PC. Matthew Day says, a cat can build better than The Verge. Yeah, they probably could. Trooper C says, I learned how to build one from the Verge PC guide. I don't understand all the hate they get. Yusuf says, is it alright to buy Microsoft off a CD key site, and do they even work? If someone hasn't already answered that already, Dave Burns already answered, yeah. The premium CD keys is where I recommend, and they are an affiliate company, so if you purchase through them, I do get a very small kickback, and it is an extremely small kickback because they cost next to nothing. I think the Windows 10 key at the moment is like $3 or something. It's ridiculously cheap, so yeah. I'm not going to be building a mansion anytime soon off the affiliates off there, but it's really nice to be associated with a company like that who deliberately go out of their way to rectify problems should there be any with keys. And I've actually had people that have bought a key, and after about a year and a half, for some bizarre reason, the key deactivated, and they still got another key sent to them and got reactivated. So awesome, guys. Premium CD keys, if you, for some weird reason you're watching this, thank you for everything you do for all the people that I push your way. ClickTech Kev says, good case, the Kamikaze Pro. Definitely love it. I really do want to get another one, but it it goes against the grain to buy another case of that I've already had. I always get that with the ASRock, the Pro 4s, the B450 Pro 4s, because I've had so many of them. Even though it's a great little board, it really annoys me when I have to buy one, because it's like, well, I've already bought one and I've reviewed it, and I've probably re-reviewed it and put it into another build, so there's no point in getting another one. Dave Thompson says Microsoft should simply sell Windows for £30 a copy. Not a bad idea. ClickTech Kev says China makes me think of Wish at the moment. You can get anything you want from there. The mind boggles. Yeah, Wish is a bizarre site. They do all kinds of weird stuff. And you have to be really careful what you search for on their site, because otherwise you end up with all kinds of weird stuff in your feed. They are one of those companies which will buy up all of your user data about you from Google and will just hammer you with adverts in everything you go. Unfortunately, CAF gets hammered by that, don't you? Those Wish adverts by everything.
But they're hilarious.
But they're really
It's
funny.
brilliant.
I think they do it on purpose, and they send you like weird stuff, like of a kind of sexual nature. And you kind of, you look at it,
You have to click
Really?
on it to see what it actually
And it's like-
is.
how the hell? You have to click on it to work out what the hell it is.
They're obviously watching you because they keep putting those men's bikinis on.
Yeah.
Or they think I look.
Oh dear. Ninja47 says, IGN built a PC recently and added $100 onto the cost for Windows 10. It's free from Microsoft anyway, unactivated, then you activate it using a key. Exactly. Tristan G says, at this point, Microsoft should provide Windows for free. They will profit no matter what. That is also true. Yeah, I don't see... I've never quite worked out how Windows licensing works. In the old days, before Windows 10, Windows 98, Windows 2000, all that kind of stuff, there was a fee. You paid it. Pretty much everyone paid it. You had no choice. You bought your OEM key or you bought a retail key.
Or you did it in a letter.
Or, yeah, that sort of thing. And you knew where you stood. So if you went to a retail shop, you're going to pay about £80 for an OEM license and a CD. At that time then, really you couldn't buy OEM keys off the internet and that sort of stuff. It was quite a difficult thing to do, especially in the kind of late 90s, early 2000s, CD key sites weren't really a thing. So you have two choices. Go and buy an OEM key, buy a brand new PC with it already attached, or you could download something like the KMS activator, or try and use another key from somewhere else and hopefully it will just activate if you didn't have the internet connected, which is what a lot of people did. It was a really weird thing. So you'd have a PC with a Windows key on the side, which you don't see anymore, which is actually a shame because it would be quite nice to still have those Windows 25-digit keys stuck on the side of a PC. It's all digital now. But that was the thing, you'd quite often buy a PC and then when it came to actually reinstalling Windows, you'd need your license key and you look through your documentation or your CD and like, oh crap, where's the license key? And you'd then get your PC and you'd like look underneath it, look on the back of the power supply, on the top, on the sides, open the CD drawer, no, it's not in there. And the CD key wouldn't be there. So then you'd have to go back to the people you bought the PC off and say, oh, I'm trying to reinstall Windows, where's my CD key? And they'd be like, oh, we left it on the PC. And you're like, well, no, you didn't, it's not on there. Well, have you changed the case? No, it's the same case. Have you looked inside your documentation? Yeah, I've been through all the documentation. Have you looked inside the CD drive? Yeah, it's not in the CD drive. It isn't here, I haven't got a key. They're like, oh, well, sorry, you need to buy a new key. You're like, oh, crap. So there's no CD key sites, so you have to go back to your local retailer or buy online and buy another OEM key for like £80 or something. It was an absolute nightmare. So now with Windows 10 being essentially free if you run it in an unactivated state, or pick up a CD key for kind of £3 rather, from Premium CD Keys, or buy an OEM, whatever you want to do. I don't think we actually realise how lucky we are and how easy things are to do. It is a pain in the backside when you have to reactivate your Windows and all that, but it's certainly nowhere near as awful as it used to be. And actually these days it's actually quicker and easier to go online and buy a CD key from like Premium CD Keys or any of the other sites than it is to actually pick up the phone and do the automated activation. Hi, this is Microsoft Automated Activation. If you're trying to register Windows, press 1. You go through this whole thing and like 5 minutes later they say, sorry, we couldn't verify that key. Please try later. And like, mother! And you'd freak out, throw the phone across the room, and then just run it unactivated or dial up again and have another go. Generally, it's just a pain in the ass. So it's much easier just to buy yourself a key these days. Crackmatic says, I have 3 Windows and I have no watermark. In actual fact, I did find that, I just read something there. Nick Momberg says the keys are stored on Motherboard now. That's not really accurate. It kind of is tied to the motherboard. So some laptop manufacturers could actually pre-program the BIOS to automatically generate a fingerprint which would then register or activate with a pre-configured restore disk. There is also a BIOS which will kind of tell Windows that it's pre-activated. It doesn't actually give you a key as such, so you can't program the key in, but there is like an OEM string which is inside the BIOS which communicates with the system and says, yeah, it's fine, please activate this system. Mostly for laptops though. Yusuf says, is the MSI MPEG B550 Gaming Edge Wi-Fi motherboard a good motherboard? Yes, and it's definitely much better than the X570 version, which was awful. Nick Momberg says, in the old days it was misleading. Scam, the key of most systems was the same key. Just resellers wanted to sell you one because they were making a massive profit. Yeah, there was I remember working at a computer company, and to install the PCs there was like a factory image, and the factory image actually had the same Windows license key in every single installation. So once you'd finished the installation, you'd go into the registry and you'd delete the OEM string and the user string, etc. So when it rebooted for the first time, it then asked you for your user ID and also a license key. So yeah, there was like a pre-installed key, and there was loads of keys that went around, like OEM keys or public keys almost, that went around. And you still see them now. Actually, I saw it the other day. Somebody posted on a Discord site, not ours, someone else's, saying, I've just bought a Windows key and it's activated, and this is my key, and just showed the last 5 digits. And it was those last 5 digits that basically everyone that upgraded from Windows 7 to Windows 10 had. It was that like default key which everybody used. So they may have bought a license, but I don't think it's going to last for very long. But anyway, that's another story. CPT White says, from my experience, Windows license does transfer with the motherboard. It can do to some extent. I've been lucky on some. I've had, funny enough actually, I bought an Intel board and a 6700K, and I fired that up with a different graphics card, and it actually activated straight away. It said this has a digital key, so obviously there was a digital key somewhere. It wasn't an OEM board, it was just an Asus Z170E. So just an off-the-shelf board. It wasn't from like a system integrator or anything, and it just activated. So if there is a system out there which has got a very similar hardware footprint, generally it's going to activate. And I think it's getting to the point now where there's so many systems out there on the market that you're quite likely that it will activate. If you sign in when you do a fresh install with your Microsoft account, so your email address that you use to sign up with the account, 9 times out of 10, if you do that, even if you've changed hardware, it will update and activate anyway. Matthew Day says, Micro ATX, the Aero Cool Aero 1 Mini Eclipse might be worth a look. Okay, I'll get Kath to write that down and have a look at that. David Aiken says the new Zalman M3 Plus looks like an interesting little micro ATX case if you're after something new. Not the most exciting, but something different. $49.99 on Alza. Ooh, it's a little bit on the pricey side for me. Buntu Dreads in the house and says, had my hands full this evening. Been listening. Windows uses a digital token reference unique to the BIOS chip. That's how Windows servers recognize your boards. So there you go. So yeah, it's a digital token rather than being an embedded key as such. I suppose a token key, for all intents and purposes, does the same thing. David Aiken says, oh no, wait, alza.co.uk, £24.50 DPD delivery. Jog on. Jog on. That is way too much. Is it just a case or a whole pallet?
It's like £15 for a motherboard, wasn't it?
Rory O'Donnell, what is your thoughts on the pedestrianisation of Norwich City? No idea. Didn't even know it was happening.
I think it's happening everywhere.
I think it's becoming more and more a thing. Bristol Centre is pretty pedestrianised now. We've got a local shopping centre called Yates Shopping Centre, which is on the kind of like the South Gloucestershire border of Bristol. That is a pedestrianised area pretty much,
Has been there.
but yeah, mostly has been all the time. Pedestrianisation is
They try to
a
do
good
it.
thing and a bad thing. It's one of those weird things that I think people who try and implement pedestrianisation don't really fully understand it. It's like these lunatics say, oh, we should get rid of cars and everyone should be using bikes. Have you ever tried going to your local B&Q and getting a 6x6 fence panel on a bike?
On the roof of your bike.
Ain't gonna happen. With the best will in the world, not gonna happen. Go to do some DIY. So you get your battens, you get your timbers, you get your 2x4s, bag of nails, angle grinder, bag of plaster. You ain't putting it on a bike. So yeah. I think a lot of these people live in a very, very different world and probably don't have to do any of those things for themselves, like taking their families on holiday or going to the shops to pick up groceries or buying DIY products, that kind of thing. They live in a little bit of a utopian dream world where everyone should be walking around and no more fossil fuels being burnt, all that kind of stuff. It's, yeah. The world is a very, very weird place at the moment. Very weird indeed. So, yeah. The pedestrianisation of a city, I don't know the full details of it, but if it's just the city centre, I guess, why not? It will kill the place off, like it did with Broadmead in Bristol, which is basically a ghost town. Everyone goes to the Mall, which is the other side, where you can drive and park up next to the shops, because it's more convenient. And you're less likely to get mugged whilst walking from said shops with your expensive purchases.
Oh, I think the mall's going bankrupt, isn't it?
Yeah. Crackmatic says, drive, walk or bike is your choice. Let's stop judging each other. Yes, good. Fair shout, Crackmatic. I agree with you entirely.
We haven't used our car since VD
Yeah,
Day.
we haven't used, yeah. My car has not been used since VE Day, which was what, May the 3rd, 4th or something?
15th, isn't it?
It's sometime in May, I can't remember exactly when, but that's the last time I used my car. Mike, what sort of bike do you ride? Racer or BMX? I wouldn't ride a racer, but I do own a BMX. A retro BMX, in fact, a GT Dyno. Captain White says, did you look at the GameX Stealth yet? 55 quid on scan. It's a little restricted airflow wise, but it's a decent chassis. I think it shares the same DNA with the F15M. I did an overview here. You can't post in here, sorry, I don't think.
I don't know if you've got a spanner.
CAT Entertainment says e-bikes are a good choice. They are, but there's so much wastage. The batteries on them generally don't last particularly long, and they're not easily recyclable. And also you've got to plug them into the mains to charge them up. So you're burning fuel to make fuel. And it's not a particularly efficient way of charging or actually using a battery. So arguably it's slightly better emissions wise than a diesel or a car, a bigger car. But ultimately it's the same as electric vehicles, that they will need charging, and you got to plug them in to some type of charging source. So
You do maintain bikes.
yeah, I do actually maintain e-bikes and normal bikes in my day job. So yeah, I do see the battery degradation and the wastage, because literally the batteries, once they're done with, you just unclip them from the frame and basically chuck them in a recycling.
In the sea.
In the sea. David Aiken says Cougar MG 120-G, 30 quid-ish. I built in this case before, not a bad budget build. Might have to take a look at that one. Gary Haig says drive, walk, bike, or possibly crawl after the Carlsberg. It's more like it. Tristan G says computers are based on the extraction of minerals and precious metals. We need to understand the balance is necessary. I have no car. Yeah, I would give up a car to have a PC. Crackmatic, Mike, please get a Jimmy Carr wig and build a PC. It would be hilarious. Hilarious for who? Jimmy Carr.
Shall I just get the Sharpie and do you a hair transplant?
Yeah, I'll just draw it on.
Like hair transplant.
Well, again, Jimmy Carr shaved his hair, didn't he, recently? So
yeah, and I can do dots with the Sharpie to make it more realistic.
I'll have to get some Tipex on my teeth, though, whiten them up a bit. Nick Monberg said, you should use it once a week, a car. It's not good for it to sit there. I know. I keep on thinking to myself, I'll move the car in a minute, I'll take it around the block. And then another week rolls by, the car doesn't.
Week before last, it started fine.
Yeah, it does seem to start all the time, regardless of how long we leave it, which is really good.
That was the first time since
Simon Arden says stealth is good, but for 55 quid case, the new boy in town is the CIT Air case. It overtakes the M80X Kamikaze by GameMax. The CIT Air case, okay. Now I'm going to look at this, because Simon does come up with some good crackers. So what was that, the CIT Air? If it's got two big fans on the front, I think I've already seen it. CIT Air, CCL Online. Okay, I think I can screen share this, if I can remember which bloody key it is.
Oh, you did.
There we go. So, Simon Arden has recommended this one, the CIT Air Mid-Tower Gaming Case. Currently $58.39 from DPD. From CCL via DPD. Wow. Yeah, actually that does look very similar to the Kamikaze Pro, with a slightly flatter front and that honeycomb mesh. Yeah, that's quite a nice looking case. I'll be oh no, that's it. That's finished it off for me.
It's gone up a bit since he posted.
Those fans look way too small in there. That doesn't look right to me. That looks like, I don't know, it just doesn't look right. There's too much of a gap either side of the fans. I think that would have been better having two 140s in the front rather than those three 120s.
It's like three Jimmy Carr's Adam Apples.
Does it tell you what the RGB setup is? Like, only got one USB Type 3 on the top, which I guess isn't really a deal breaker, but not ideal.
Is it small fans or a fat case?
I think it's a fat case. It looks quite wide because it's got that extra bit on the side. It looks like it's a full ATX rather than a micro ATX.
Co-Link Citadel. CIT. ADEL.
That's a weird looking case. Actually, that is a GameMax case because it's got the GameMax logos on the back of there. They've used the stock photo from the GameMax one. Because CIT wouldn't use GameMax fans, but that is the GameMax logo. What the hell is going on? But not a bad looking case.
Airflow is perfect on it for the price. Remote control hub.
Right, so remote control hub, so it is GameMax ones more than likely, or rebadged Saharas. Is that ATX? Is that full ATX or is that micro ATX? It looks like it's micro ATX.
Does have the GameMax fans, correct?
Yeah. Doesn't show any of the RGB set up there, which is a bit of a shame. Oh, and as if by magic, the shopkeeper appeared. So what we got going on here? We've got we've got 3-pin RGB, so LED lights, LED lights, LED lights. Power in is custom, so that's probably on a SATA or possibly a Molex. Ground PC in, so that is another digital signal, and that is a reset switch you can to change through lighting. And fan control, so we've got low, medium and high, and then also we've got a settings cog. What's that for? Who knows? So auto, speed up and down mode, etc. Auto, I'd imagine, would pass the signal back through to the motherboard for both PWM and RGB. Yeah, pretty much is the kind of Sahara stroke GameMax usual shtick. Oh yeah, there we go. So PWM controls, RGB controls and SATA controls. Yeah, potentially that is maybe worth a look actually. Looks like the fans are deep enough set. That is a shit picture. Whoever took that in their art department wants to be punched in the face. That's awful. Not too sure about 60 quid plus postage, especially seeing it is micro ATX, but it does seem to tick a lot of boxes. Although, oh yeah, the Air comes with 4 pre-installed Velocity fans. Velocity is GameMax.
I told you that.
Yeah, no, they've even said it, so that is so bizarre. Why are CIT teaming up with GameMax or vice versa? That seems unusual. But yeah, it is, I think it is actually the, I'm pretty sure that is the GameMax Kamikaze, just with a different front on it. Although did that have extra, no, that had an extra button on the top for RGB and stuff, so could be similar I suppose. But yeah, not a bad option, but I don't know whether I can swing that for 60 bucks. Anyway, what do you lot think? Let's have a look in the comments section, because I've been completely ignoring what you lot have been thinking or saying, etc. Simon Arden says basic is the 2.0 of the CIT Flash. Matthew Day says my CIT Prism had a GameMax fan set. Tristan G, Mike the Case Detective is on the case. Oh yes. Junior Thomas says, will you check out the Cooler Master TD500 mesh case? Possibly. Kath, put it on the list.
I've got it on the list.
It's on the list?
I've got them all on the list.
Good, good. Yusuf actually brings up a good point there. I really like the Lian Li Lan Cool Mesh 2 RGB case. 80 quid on overclockers.co.uk. Which does kind of beg the thing, for £20 more to get a branded case, the Lian Li Lan Cool, that is a pretty hard sell. I keep on saying this to other companies when they sort of approach me about case reviews and pricing and all that kind of stuff. And a lot of these case manufacturers and sellers at the moment, I think really are asking a lot for their cases. There seems to be this really, really weird market where nobody really wants to sit in that kind of mid-range price of like the £40, £50 mark. They all want to go either under or over. So you've got loads of cases in the £60 to £80 bracket. then not a lot, and then you've got loads in the kind of 40 to 20 bracket. But between 40 and 60, there's not really many to choose from. You've got obviously that one we just looked at, and you've got the GameMax F15, which is still one of my favourites. The GameMax Kamikaze, again, another favourite. Yeah. Sorry, I just looked at a comment which made me chuckle because, yeah.
I said that.
Ugly Bob said, did you notice Linus nicking your idea of putting case fans on a GPU like you did with the Loud Power Color 580? Do you know what? As soon as I saw that video, because it's been weird, because Kath said to me recently, she said, look at Linus's video. Do you think he actually sees your videos? Or his people watch your videos? And I was like, no, they'd be silly. Of course they don't. But it's got me thinking that maybe someone there does. Because quite a lot of the videos that I've been doing recently,
they did give us a shout out.
Within a very small amount of time, there's some very similar content that comes out from the Linus Media Group, which I find hilarious. It's fantastic. And they did actually give me a kind of partial shout out once for a bit of a video they used on one of their streams on their, what was it, something 10 good things about Windows, I think it was. And yeah, there was a very, very minor shout out. So I don't know, maybe someone is. O'Reilly says, Dave Burns, I agree, Lanley is bae to me as well. Hard to pull me away. Ugly Bob says, there's the Fantex P300, that's an awesome case. Nick Momberg says it's because of the cost to produce them. Ugly Bob says, I followed your advice on mine and it dropped the temps by 20 degrees. Get the lawyers on it. Dave Burns says, do I need to go to Linus's Discord now? No, it's alright. David Aiken says, I'd pay to see you on the next roast of Linus. Oh, wouldn't that be fantastic? I'll be honest with you, I don't know whether... I don't know what I would roast him on, because actually I do quite admire Linus. He is... he isn't everybody's cup of tea, but he certainly does have that kind of that entertainment factor. He is very energetic in what he does.
I liked it when he had that girl that won the competition of building a PC.
Oh yeah.
She drove him mad.
Yeah, the Asus
Maddie,
ROG Challenge with Maddie, I think it was. Yeah, that was hilarious, and you should definitely go and see that if you haven't seen it already. That is the one time that I thought that Linus was going to lose his shit. And if you do go and watch it, leave a comment there saying that Mike from Mike's Unboxing sent me. P350X is quite a good case as well. That's one I might look at. Ugly Bob says, since Linus grew that beard, he doesn't look like a 14-year-old girl anymore. He still sounds like one, but he doesn't look like one.
He sounds a bit like a parrot. I like him though.
Dave Burns says, oh my god, that girl was nuts. Yeah. Skystalker says, Linus is actually is genuinely a nice guy. And Skystalker is actually a bona fide person who has met Linus, and they are kind of almost neighbours. So, yeah, he if anyone would know, it would be Sky.
Does Skystalker wear the same sandals though?
Yusuf says Linus does stupid thing. That's why he's entertaining. Exactly. Ugly Bob, true. He should keep the beard. Yes, definitely.
No.
Dave Burns says, of course he's nice, he's Canadian. That's a good point, actually.
Good day, mate. It's
a shame sometimes Steve from Gamers Nexus isn't a bit more Canadian. Especially with MSI. Skystalker's being a bit bashful now, saying, lol, I have met him, not like we hang out. It's like, yeah, right. Linus is around every weekend for like coffee and stuff. I'm just joking, he's not. Oh, Tristan G says, I think almost all the folks here are nice people, regardless of nationality. That's very nice. Ugly Bob says, I'm not dissing Linus, the lad does a great job even though he wears socks with sandals. Yeah, that, I think over the years it's become more socially acceptable. I don't know why, because back in the 80s, if you'd have wore socks with sandals, you'd have either been in your 50s or you'd have had the crap beaten out of you. Genuinely, you'd have been severely hit around the head with things at school.
Wear sandals. I don't know if he wears Crocs though. Just checking.
Crocs. Oh dear. Right. Okay. I think we've come to the end of the stream for tonight, and also we've got to get ready for Achy Shadow's stream over on the Twitch, which I don't know if he can actually post a link because he's a moderator, so he should be able to post a link. So Dave Burns, if you want to post a link to your stream, please feel free to do so right away now. Ugly Bob says, no! Well, as much as I'd love to stay on all night, unfortunately I can't because I do need some sleep. Even though I am looking younger, it's all camera trickery. I really look like shit, so I really need to get some sleep, and hopefully you can all appreciate that.
Oh,
but
just turned up as well,
if you do want to see more or speak to us more and be part of our community on a more active level, there's various ways you can do that. Obviously, you can join our Discord, where pretty much most of the people you've seen in the chat tonight do hang out or at least lurk in the shadows.
Or just join us on Dave's tonight.
Yeah, or join us on Dave's stream tonight if you want to. Say hello, stick your head in.
They are 18 rated.
Yeah, Dave's. Yeah, we should say that up front. Dave's streams are very much adult orientated and will contain sources of various forms of adult rated humour. So yeah, there's a caveat out there. So don't just blindly go in there expecting it to be all Care Bears and stuff. Ain't going to be Care Bears and stuff. It's going to be far, far from it. So anyway, you'll be warned when you join the stream. But anyway, yeah, thank you all so much for tonight. Thank you all for the super chats, much appreciated. And yeah, well, hopefully we'll catch up with you in the next live stream. Loads of content coming next week, so we'll have the review for the KO coming out. Also, we've got some updates on the B550 Tomahawk and the Phantom Gaming, and we've got loads of other stuff which I need to review. Also, I did actually get, which I should have got out tonight on the stream, we did have the our new NAS box arrive, so we will be doing an entire series for beginners through to intermediates through to expert level on various implementations of NAS. Luckily, we've been very kindly supported by those good people over at Synology, so big shout out to Synology for helping us out with this. So they're going to be sending us various products to go through from entry level, intermediate to high end. So hopefully you'll join us for that journey into the world of NAS and all that kind of stuff. But in the meantime, I'll be Mike. This is Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and hopefully we'll catch you in the very next video. Thanks for watching. Oh dear, what is wrong with me?